Hello, YouTube, and welcome to this new thing that I'm gonna start doing. I didn't really think of a name for it. I guess I could call it because it's Thursday. I could call it Talking Thursday or whatever, but that kind of sounds fucking stupid, so I won't. It's basically going to be the very general audio commentary slash gameplay commentary, which most COD commentators do. They have gameplay footage and then they talk about shit over it, and that's what I'm going to do. Except I'm not going to be using COD. I'm going to be using League of Legends, enemy territory, and shit like that. Basically anything other than COD. And you probably know how these videos work, so I'm not going to get too much into that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing these weekly, bi-weekly, or whenever, but basically whenever I feel like it. You can of course leave suggestions as to what you'd like me to talk about or hear my opinion on in the comment section, and of course remember that you can always rate the video with whatever you think it deserves, and all of that is greatly appreciated. Comments as well. Uh, but to start it off, I wanted to talk about, well, this is actually something that I've been wanting to talk about for the longest fucking time. I'm gonna be talking about two gaming franchises that, in my opinion, have gone down the shitter lately. The first one is Dead Space. I'm probably gonna title these with just what I'm gonna talk about. Like this video, I could talk about what, like, I don't even know. I'm just gonna think about it after I'm done with this. But Dead Space is the first one that we're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna quickly go over my history with the series or the franchise, and then talk about why Dead Space 3 sucks monkey fuck through a straw. Uh, like Dead Space, the original one was a very solid game. I loved it. I didn't get it at launch. I'm not exactly sure when I got it, but it was a very solid experience. It was well made. It had a good story, a great setting, and it was a very fresh idea in that games like that had not pretty much been done before. You were, alone in space as Isaac Clarke, who wasn't even like he wasn't a superhero. He was just an ordinary man, an engineer at that, and he wasn't, trained for any of the shit that happened to him. And apart from that, one of the things that I loved about it was the atmosphere. It reminded me of the early Alien movies, if you've seen those with Sigourney Weaver and other dudes and dudettes, and it really much reminded me of those, which I loved. Being alone in this derelict spaceship against these like aliens who just want to kill you. I don't think would I classify it as survival horror. Probably not as much as, say, something like Resident Evil, which I'm going to be talking about later. But at the same time, it kind of geared towards more like actiony stuff. But at the same time, I'd still say that it was, at least to a certain extent, survival horror. And but yeah, I loved it. The first one was very good, and the second one, like they didn't add that much to the second one, so I can't really say that it was any worse or better. But I do have to say that I prefer the original just for the fact that it was the original and it was the game that did it first. So basically, they're on par with each other, but at the same time, the original is a little bit above the second one. Um, and then the third one, I actually didn't buy the third one. I got it for free because I bought SimCity, and everyone who bought SimCity and registered it before the 25th got a free game because of all the launch shit that they had with the servers and crap. They gave a list of games. There was Mass Effect 3, Battlefield 3, Plants vs. Zombies, Dead Space 3, and like a bunch of others. I wasn't really interested in any of them, so I just got the one that I was like kind of wanted to try and see if it was any good, and that was Dead Space 3. So I didn't actually pay anything for the game, and I wasn't planning on paying anything for the game because I was not interested in it that much. And what I found out was just shit. I played the game for like, well, I have played since I got it. I played it for like an hour, and I don't want to go back because like even before launch, all the updates, all the upgrades, all the things that they changed, just they didn't make sense. Like the first thing that I found out about the game before it launched was the fact that it has co-op. I was like, okay, I'm not going to be playing co-op because, you know, the real the real draw in these games were that they had great atmospheres and they were actually scary. You were alone in these places with these aliens trying to kill you. So when you put co-op into that, it kind of, debunks the whole draw of the game, and I don't want to even try the co-op because that completely makes the game not scary. So okay, you can still play it alone. So that's not the worst part. Then they, say that there's going to be a cover system. Okay, take cover from what? I don't think the necromorphs give two shits about you ducking under some barrier or whatever. They're just gonna climb on top of it and kill you. Oh, but no, the third thing that they mentioned is human enemies. The game actually starts with you shooting people. At that point, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore because it was so stupid. Like, I just I cannot wrap my head around it that they had the game start with you taking cover and shooting enemies with very generic weapons. Like, that's one of my main gripes about it is human enemies. Like, he's a murderer now. Isaac fucking Clarke. You can actually relate to him in the previous games. Like, he's this guy in a bad situation, but he comes through. He survives. And now he has survived, and now he's like just killing normal people. Like, that's not Dead Space. Come on. And so all of those things just resulted in me not being interested in the game. Not one bit. I fucking hated it. I hate the changes that they made. It made the game so much worse, and I guess it's justified that the Dead Space franchise is pretty much done now because of the shitty shells that Dead Space 3 had. Um, well, I don't think they confirmed it that the series is canned, but I think that it's pretty much done because of EA and the poor sales. Like I said, I wasn't planning on getting the game because of the fact that I wasn't interested in it. I got it for free, and I know you can't really complain about free stuff, but boy, did it piss me off. Loving the first two, and then the third one is donkey shit. Donkey diarrhea, I should say. But that's not even the worst part. The worst problem that I have with the game is when I started playing it, like I heard that, they replaced the ammo system. They didn't have like different ammo for the plasma cutter and the line gun and the pulse rifle and shit. Well, that's because they have this weapon crafting system, whatever. I didn't even get to that part, so I can't really talk about it. But they changed the ammo system so you have one generic ammo that is called ammo. Like, I know that they live in the future and all, but tell me what fucking magical ammo this is that it fits into every single gun. Like, does it magically, like, change the, change, what the fuck was I talking about? Change the size and the shape and like, imagine putting it into a plasma cutter. A plasma cutter uses probably very different ammo from a line gun. Oh, but wait, you don't have those anymore. You have generic pistols and assault rifles. Yay, that's great. Because, the engineer tools from the first two games weren't, original or anything. You had to replace them with fucking assault rifles and machine guns and shit. Like, of course, you have to understand that the reason they changed the ammo is because you can craft your own weapons, and they, like, if they had different ammo from every different gun, which I'm sure there's a lot you could make, that would lead to a lot of different ammo types. But they could have done it so that, you have to use this one core part for a weapon, and that determines the ammo. Like, just going, I can't understand it. Like, it's just called ammo. They didn't even make a name for it. You pick up ammo and it's called ammo. I I could go on about that for ages, but I'll stop now because it's just so stupid. It is so stupid, and I hate the game. I don't recommend it to anyone, even hardcore fans of the first two games, which I am. I love the first two, and I even LP'd the second one. But the third one is just stupid, and I guess the series got what it deserved in being canned. Not officially, of course, unofficially, but still. I don't think the sales. I don't think the sales for the game bode too well for it in the future. Um, then there's another game that I wanted to talk about, or a game franchise, I should say, in the form of Resident Evil, which I already briefly mentioned before. I first up, I need to say that I didn't play number six. I don't plan on playing it. I'm not gonna pay anything for that because they didn't go back to where I wanted them to go. Um, I grew up with one, two, and three, and my favorite is probably the remake of the first one on the GameCube. Four is excellent as well, but it's not really a Resident Evil game in the sense that, for those of for those who grew up with the PlayStation Resident Evils, were probably expecting something a little more, I don't know how I should put it, puzzly. Cause in the first three games you had, like, the draw in those games, in my opinion, were the puzzles, like the camera angles, not being able to see what's in front of you, and the suspense, the atmosphere. But then they went the action part. You notice the connection between Dead Space 3 and the recent Resident Evil games? And both went the more actiony part. They added things that didn't really belong in survival horror games, cover system, um, co-op, all these things. Resident Evil 4, like I said, it's a good game. It's an excellent game. Resident Evil 5 was just, ugh, it was just okay, and that's it. Even in co-op, the story just went crazier and crazier. And like I said, I didn't play six. I don't want to. I've seen enough of it. I've seen a live stream or two, a couple of let's plays, and it's just like, when the game came out on Steam on PC, it was 30 euros, which is a little low for a new game. So I guess they're really trying to pick up the sales. I don't know how the game sold up until this point, but as long as they remain like that, Resident Evil games, I won't be getting any of them because of the fact that I don't like the direction that they've taken the series. Like I said, I grew up with the PlayStation original ones, the original trilogy, as I'd like to call it, because I see 1, 2, and 3 very, very separate from 4, 5, and 6, even though 4 is a very good game. And 5 is an okay game, but 6 is just garbage shit mixed in vomit and then shat on again. I don't know. It just pisses me off. Two gaming franchises that, in my opinion, are now complete and utter shit. And most likely, well, one of them's probably over now. But I don't think that Resident Evil will change. Hopefully they make like a spin-off or something in which they go back to like the way it was. In the meantime, I'm probably gonna try to get my hands on the remake on the GameCube version, or even do a Chocobotamer goes retro with the first one or the second one for the PlayStation. But that's it. Though those are my opinions on two of the gaming franchises known as Dead Space and Resident Evil. Nothing much to say. I fucking hate them now. That is my opinion, and I hope if they make a new Dead Space game that they take the co-op off and change the weapons back the way they were. Just generic assault rifles and shotguns and ammo that magically fits into every fucking gun in existence. That just not that doesn't work. It's stupid. But that is going to be it for this. Tell me how I did in the comment section below, and of course, if you have any suggestions as to what I should be talking about in the future, feel free to leave a comment saying mentioning those as well. And of course, please let me know your opinion about Dead Space 3 and the current situation with Resident Evil, how you see the games, if you like them, if you hate them, and don't feel fury, don't be afraid to have uh, the opposite opinion to mine. I, of course, don't mind. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But remember to like, leave a comment, and all that good shit. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Sorry for bitching. And I will see you guys next time.